meeting everyone, but I encourage you guys, not to sit down in your chair, but to get up, meet people, network. There's some powerful women in this room. And so you guys want to know who's in this room today, okay?
Ain't a thing. Loving you is everything, and I'm alright. I'm alright, yeah. Life can bring us through any changes, it's alright.
Your inputs. I say this because I look back at a lot of the music that I listen to. I would go to church, but then I'd say, I can listen to, Cash Money and all of that stuff. I'm in the car, get your own wood, all that stuff. But in thinking, I can block this out. I know this doesn't make sense for my life. I know this is not even realistic. But when you listen to those things over and over and over again, when you watch it on TV, eventually the things that you take in through your eyes and your ears end up coming out through your mouth and in your ways. And so now I can't listen to those things because I understand that it's seeping in and affects the way that I behave. So mind your inputs very carefully because your outputs will reflect exactly what you take in.
Tweetable moments.
I used to struggle with balance, and I don't know that I necessarily believe in balance, but I do believe in harmony, just because there is not going to be any equilibrium between each of my buckets, so I just try to do the best. Okay, you can clap for that. And we are here. So a lot of times we just subscribe to the world's ideas of stuff, and we don't really question or figure out, well, does that make sense for me? And it doesn't really make sense for me, even though I'm a single woman of a certain age. I don't have any children, except I do have a little furry girl. She'll be 2 in 2 weeks. Her name is Sophie, and she's 5 pounds. But actually, Sophie is in my life to help balance. I go home. When I go to speak, I go home when it's time to go home, because I have a little furry girl at home, which helps. But the bottom line is, I do believe more in harmonizing my buckets, the 7 core areas of my life. And I do a very particular exercise, and that is I do a life planning exercise. I do that annually. So come December, I start the year in review, and I start the planning for the following year. I do quarterly life check-ins and a life evaluation that Doreen, you're probably familiar with, or the coaches here, life evaluation. I literally grade myself in every area so that I'm not hiding from anything, or I'm not fooling myself by getting an A over here in this category, but you're really failing over here. So I try to just manage it like you manage a business. A lot of things things that I do, I took away from my corporate days, where the bar was very high, a lot of tools, a lot of exercise, a lot of things that we do in corporate. I mean, basically, your corporate job, or whatever it is that you do now, is a paid internship. It's for you to learn, and you like that. Did you like that? Yeah? I mean, and Doreen said it best. If you don't like it, just leave. But it's a paid internship, because I don't blame it on Doreen. But she is right. Good. But what that does is it helps you to appreciate your job, to appreciate where you are, to take what you're learning there and know that it's going to feed something else. So I do an annual life planning, if that makes sense. And in fact, so the end of Q2, which is how I manage my life, because that's what we do on Wall Street, I start my mid-year review. So I stop, slow down, don't keep going. Because if I keep going, I won't have a realistic idea as to how I'm trending or how I'm going to close the year. I'll be just fooling nobody but myself. And come December, the numbers are flat because you didn't look at them. I'm sorry, with all that emphasis. But does that make sense? So that's how I harmonize.
Yeah, and with that, because we like I said, we are about building wealth, right? We do more of that in our communities, and so we want to talk about money. How many? We want money, right? We want to own businesses. We want to be wealthy. We want to be able to leave a legacy. So with that said, I'm going to ask Ms. Michelle to tell us, what tips can you give women to help secure their financial future? You want to?
Marshall. Because this makes sense. This is for this financial future. Yes. The 25-year-old question, because you sent out the questions before, what would I tell my 25-year-old self? Yeah. Just this one thing, just a moment of transparency, and it'll lead into your question. At 25, I would have said, stop spending on yourself and invest more in yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's going to help somebody here. So does that make sense? So that's just a moment of transparency. I wish I would have told myself, or somebody would have said to me, you need to stop spending You don't need that bag. That is not going to make you, but you need to invest. I haven't saved that for 7 years. You see the little bag falling apart over there? Vacation home, second and third, and jet set and plane. So I need another bag.
Right.
So
So if you don't have as much money as you have, you spend on the bag. You don't need
right. Okay. But that's a good lead-in, right?
It is.
Because somebody needed to hear that. I wish somebody would have said that your coins would be real thick. So 25-year-olds right here, you need to get some intermediate money accounts. Shout out to Tiffany Budgetista, and that's how you'll be able to better manage your money.
Right. Or you can talk to Brian Malin, and he could probably give you some tips about money. He's the money guy. I'll put him on the spot over there. Right. So yes, Michelle, give us some tips to help secure our financial future.
Tips to secure financial future. Well, I think, coming from a financial services company and growing up there, I've learned the value of saving for your future. And it seems so far away, and it seems like it's not going to come, but it is. And how do you want to live? What is your dream? Do you want to have your hustle forever, right? Or do you want to have some time to spend enjoying doing the things that you want, maybe not always for the dollar, right? But because they just give you joy or they give you pleasure. So I started with my first check, saving in my retirement account. It's been hard because there's many times I would have rather had cash in my hand versus putting that little bit of money away. But I think if you can find ways to not ever have it in your hand, have it come out of your check, have it automatically deducted from your account, and just put a little bit aside. I think if we did spend as much time on our financial planning as we do on some of the other aspects of our life, vacations, hair, right? The way I balance my life, I just want to inject on that, is that I work 4 days a week from whatever time. I could be there till 10 o'clock every night. But Friday I end a little earlier, and I have a standing appointment at the hairdresser. That is my time. That is with my girlfriend's time. My hairdresser is pretty much the closest thing to me, to a confessor. But probably if I spent as much time and care as that on my financial future, we would be wealthy women.
I remember when I worked in Chicago Public Schools as an educator, one of the teachers, she had gave me, I was I think 25, and she had gave me a tip because I was I'm an older child, so trying to set the example for my siblings. So I have always been really, really good at saving money. I've been working since I was 14. I did like nails. It was kind of cricket. I did everything. I was a little hustler. But she told me, she said, if you get a 403B account and you just put $50 in it every 2 weeks, you can have a lot of money. And so what I did, actually, because I didn't have any kids, I was saying I made good money. I put $100 in every 2 weeks. So when I got laid off, I had money, so I didn't have to go out and get a loan for my business, and I was able to invest that into myself. So I just encourage you guys to look into those IRAs and those 403Bs and invest into yourself, because that can be your business loan. I don't like owing nobody no money. I still ain't get no business loan. Jesus. All right. So we have 2 final questions. I'm gonna get into the ladies over here. I wanna talk about challenges, because we know that there are challenges in business. And so, Doreen, she is the radical coach, and she knows about this. So tell us, Doreen, what has been your biggest challenge in business, and how have you overcome it?
Well, there have been many challenges. I always say entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It just isn't. It wasn't for Mark Zuckerberg or, anybody who we think may have just, had it happen for them. But it never just happens. You're always going to be faced with challenges. And when I think about the challenges in my own business, one of the biggest challenges I had to overcome, remember I said marketing gets you known, sales gets you paid. And for me, marketing, I was spending all my time learning marketing, understanding marketing. But if you don't ever reconcile asking for money and then asking for what you're worth, asking for what your products and services should be valued at, then you're going to struggle to reach your financial goals. And you have to be okay with people not being able to afford your services. You have to be okay with what people might think when you start talking money. The purpose of business, by definition, is to generate a profit. And so if you are not generating a profit, and so I always say when I teach entrepreneurship, I talk about what the line of building a business is. And the first thing you need to make money so that it can support itself. WordPress, and these got paid for hosting. So everybody has something. So your business should pay for itself. Secondly, your business should pay for reserves. You should be able to put money away so you can grow your business. Then next, your business should be able to pay you. You know, and then it should be able to cover, after that, if you're full-time or if you have household expenses, your household expenses, then it should move into your household savings, your retirement, your legacy. So what happens, many of us make a little money and we go get some red shoes. You know, or we go get the big bag with some letters on it, and then when it comes time, there's an opportunity to grow your business, you can't do it. So you need to pay attention to, and that was my challenge, you know, I'm not keeping track of money, not really understanding I gotta price right and all that kind of stuff. But once you get that going, you'll find that you're not only making money, but then you begin to experience my favorite new word, which is net profits.
Yes, good stuff, right?
I was not ready. I said, no, I can pimp this better. How about y'all pay me, give me a job, and then I work for the New York Times. That's gonna mean something down the road. Now listen, I'm not giving y'all all the credit, because God has all the power. But if I go to work for the New York Times, we don't have nobody there to look like us. So how about I go in there and we're gonna re-pimp this thing. And so I went to work for the New York Times. And then I outstayed my welcome. How many of you outstay your welcome? And I got fired. Somebody say sorry, somebody say fired. A lot of times we try to make it pretty. Try to make it pretty. You got right size, down size, you lost your job, I got fired. I was on disability. I just like saying it for effect. Because it removes the perfection thingy. I just like saying that. I didn't really, but I did. Let's just say it. Okay. So I wasn't ready for them. I wasn't ready to do my own thing at the time in terms of the entrepreneurial thing, because I was really just honoring my passion, honoring my purpose. And so I went to work at the New York Times, and then eventually I left and just dove into this entrepreneurial thing. But it was an accident. I didn't plan it. I didn't do everything right. I made so many mistakes. So that's my journey. Is that good?
Is
that good?
So what do you guys learn about the journey?
But guess what? A sister done made up on the back end. Oh, I run stuff now. Oh, I'm off of it. Now, oh yes, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, Forbes top 25.
Yes.
Let's just know we're pursuing all of that.
That's right.
There's no small target.
That's what that is. Yeah.
Accident, now on purpose.
Right. Drop the mic. Enough said. Tisa, I'm gonna end the conversation with this question, because I actually surveyed our members because I wanted to know what is it that you guys want to know from these women. What is it that you're looking for as you're growing your business? And my coach, Ms. Nicole Roberts Jones, she taught me to make sure that you survey the people that you work with, because you want to know what your customers want. You want to know, because we know what we want, but that's not always what our customers need. And so you want to survey your customers and find out what is it that you need. What product can I provide that helps you grow and succeed in what you're doing? And so these questions were from the ladies of the Boss Network, and so I think that they're amazing questions. You guys learned a lot today, right? Yeah. And so clap. And so one of the things that I know that sometimes we don't talk about, but I like to talk about this because one of the things that I found when I talk to so many women who are starting businesses and who want to grow their brands, we have that little thing in our head called what? Doubt and fear, right? And I tell people all the time, like, doubt and fear is an emotion. Like, it's never gonna go away. But my philosophy is I walk right through fear and get to the other side of to do what I need to do for myself. So with that said, I want to know from Ms. Tisa, how do you handle fear and doubt while pursuing your goals? I'll put you on the spot. It's the last question, I guess, to be good, girl.
Okay. I have to pray, and I have to pray hard, because there's so many reasons that the world gives you to fear that you're not good enough, you're not thin enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough. There's always some reason to justify why you can't have something that someone else has, or even something that you want. So I have to pray first, and then I have to look in the mirror, because it's very tempting, as Doreen said, to look around and say, well, they're not doing right by me, they're not giving me this and they're not giving me that. And I've done that. not productive at all. So when I look in the mirror, that's like my instant accountability check. Okay, maybe they didn't do right by you, but what did you do to add to that situation? Or what did you do to fix that situation? Did you come up with a solution, or did you go back at them the same way that they came to you? And when I ask myself these questions over and over and over again, ultimately, like you said, make a decision. A lot of people are afraid from actually making a decision, because once you make the decision, you are going to be held accountable for the consequences or the successes of that decision. So first look up, then look forward, and that's it.
Right, look up and forward. That's good stuff, right? That's good stuff. And another thing that I just want to, just leave you ladies with, with this panel is just encouraging everybody that, fear and doubt, everybody experiences. I'm sure Oprah Winfrey experiences it. I'm sure, when she started OWN, I'm sure she had lots of doubts about, being the first African American woman with her own network, what people are going to receive it. So at every level, there's other situations that are going to kind of put us in a place of fear and doubt. And so we have to have that confidence, like you guys said, into yourself, to know that, no matter what, if it's something that I'm really, and I think that's that passion, right? So that passion kind of drives you and pushes you forward in anything that you want to do. But you have to believe in yourself more than anything. You have to believe in your baby. And so, because when those times when it doesn't work, and when people don't, buy your products or services, you have to still want it bad enough, right? So I've done events where, people didn't register. But honey, that's okay, because I know how to make it work. So we make it work. So you have to be creative. There is never, for me, I have a plan B, C, and D. And I tell people all the time, and a lot of times in business, you have to really kind of always expect the unexpected. You have to expect for things to go wrong. And when you expect for things to go wrong, it doesn't really bother you as much. It's like, okay, what are we going to do now? And just keep it moving, all right? So let's give our panel a round of applause. Y'all know, come on. If it ain't tight, it ain't right. I'm just saying. All right. So, Beverly, there's so many things that we can ask you, and we know your story 4 decades. Talk about longevity, right? That's absolutely amazing. Beverly, do you have a mic? Okay. Yeah. So, Beverly, we all know you as a supermodel, right? It should be. Hello. Yes. So we all know you as a supermodel, but tell us, how did you get started as a businesswoman?
Oh, good evening, everyone. This has been such an amazing evening. I always look forward to these events with Kamika. She does such an extraordinary job, and she's such an extraordinary woman. And I'm so proud to know you in the way that I know you. And also, ladies, I learned so much from you, each and every one of you. It's really what this event is all about. Now, I say all of that to say, this has been a whirlwind for me in the last, actually, few months. But even in the last few days. So I'm going to have to address the elephant in the room. And that elephant is violence on women. And it was wonderful this evening as I was getting ready to come here, and I had CNN, which I watch all the time now that I have a partner in love and a partner in business. And you watch CNN all the time. And all comes our President Obama. And here I am in Washington, D.C., and he addresses the comment and the situation of women being drugged and then someone having sex with them without their consent, and saying that is rape. And I'll tell you, we all know that is rape. So he's not saying something that we don't know. But it was the fact that we now have the person in the highest office of our nation defending women and saying it's not okay to sexually assault a woman or to have any kind of violence against women. And I just want to just give a round of applause for President Obama. Because it's a conversation that needed to be had. And in December, when I finally decided, which took me a long time to decide, that I wanted to come out and tell my story about my encounters with Bill Cosby, because I saw all these women coming forward telling their story and people not believing them and also re-victimizing them and vilifying them. And I said, you know, God, you blessed me from getting out of that situation without being raped. So I've got to say something. You know, I have to. My principles and my conscience says I knew I was going to get a lot of backlash, and I did. And it was a lot, and it was hurtful. But I have to do the right thing. So I just want to say that I'm glad I did. I realized that made a difference in the way people heard those stories. And also, I think we all have those stories about being sexually harassed or sexually assaulted or molested, or it can go on and on and on. And we needed to have this conversation. And I'm really happy that I was able to facilitate that at the moment I did. And also, I'd like to say that I'll get all the way back to my life and my memoirs, which you can write down, you can order them down. It's the businesswoman. It's the boss in me. Because I want to make the bestseller list the first week it comes out. And I can't do that without you pre-ordering the book. It's the cheapest Christmas gift you'll ever get. It's $20 or whatever it is. And I'll tell you what the book is about. It's about my childhood in the 70s and 80s. But what it's really about is about all my failures on the way to success. And don't judge me when you read it. It's a page turner, honey. You're going to be up all night going, oh, I got to go to work in the morning, but I got to finish this. It's one of your books, okay? And I didn't, I decided if I was going to do my memoirs, I was going to tell it. I was going to tell it like it happened, if I could remember it, because a lot of things happened back then. But also, I had already done a chapter on Cosby, and I had a writer, her name is Michelle Obama, her name is Allison Samuels, who did Michelle Obama's book, What Would Michelle Obama Do? She worked for Newsweek for 17 years. Anyway, she was the woman who I worked with to write the book. And we did the chapter on Cosby. She knew about Cosby because she's a reporter. And my editor at the time said, we're not going to be able to put that in the book. And then all of this came out about Cosby in December, and then they said, you know about that chapter about Cosby? We want to put it in the book. So the book is not about Bill Cosby, it's about my life and about things that you think you know me, but you don't. But you will after you read the book. So, everybody get their credit card out, this kid. No, I'm not. I'm going to talk about doing the HBO miniseries and the movie and the this and that, and it's all really great, but it really brings me all the way back to business. I come from very humble beginnings. My father was a steel laborer and my mother was a nurse. Everybody worked for somebody. So I didn't have business in my background. I have older sister, older brother, younger sister, younger brother. I'm in the middle. I'm the middle child. And I've been working all my life since I'm 13 years old. And I think I was a competitive swimmer, and I love swimming, and I was sort of one of those kind of kids that was was introvert, and I loved school. And I remember walking across the stage being announced for the honor roll and people booing. that you're on the honor roll. So I grew a very thick skin at a very young age, and I tell a lot of this in the book. But so I never wanted to be in the fashion industry. I wanted to be a lawyer. For my family, you go to school. My father said, a model? I don't think so. You being a streetwalker? We don't have those in the family. And my mother went against my father's wishes. And I knew someone, it's a long story, you're going to read about it in the book, but I had an opportunity. And my father made $75 a week, and they told me models made $75 an hour. I was like, for standing there with your hands on your hips, I think I can do that. My brothers and sisters were like, they want you? Did you tell me you got better looking sisters and brothers at home? I mean, they just couldn't believe it. But I saw it as an opportunity. And in life, you don't know where it's going to take you. You know? And I felt like, God, I'm gonna go this way. Because I just felt like this is something you just don't turn your nose up at. And that's how I got into the business. So basically, you just get regular Beverly from around, from Buffalo, New York. That's all I am. And my girlfriend says that's all, that's who I am today. So modeling was attacked like it was a business for me. And then I realized I had this artistic side to myself. I see a designer sitting here. And you don't realize you have that kind of creatives. And it was really fun. It was interesting. I'm meeting all kinds of people traveling all over the world, making so much money. You couldn't tell me nothing, honey. My picture was everywhere, everywhere. And it was great. And then I realized that it's going to be over soon. It's going to be over soon. It's like an athlete. You got 5-6 years, they told me. I said, okay. So I started preparing myself for the transition at a very young age. I was, middle-aged at 25 years old. You were old, finished, washed up. What are you going to do next? So I got in the habit of reinventing myself. And I didn't realize what a great habit that was, because in life, every day you start at ground zero.
Yes.
Whatever happened yesterday, whatever you did, whatever magazines you were on, whatever job promotion you got, that was yesterday. And today's the day. So I realized that I needed to build a brand. I needed people not only to know my face, but they needed to know my name. And in order for them to do that, I had to stay around long enough for them to remember your name. Because if you're there today and gone tomorrow, then, people forget. So they were trying to get me out of the business when the 80s came by. I said, oh no, the money's too good. I ain't going nowhere. I'm still a model, okay? Pay me that money. And I really wanted to acknowledge the fact of this defining moment, which was the Vogue cover in August 1970. It's every model's dream to be on the cover. But I didn't realize I was the first woman of color on the cover. And then I got mad because I thought, man, when you're young, this is civil rights and they still, this is still happening. And then I realized I didn't really know who I was, what my roots were. And it put me on a self-discovery journey that I'm so thankful for today. And it also really made me appreciate, because I was just in the right place at the right time. I didn't do nothing for that, I was in the business, but it really made me appreciate it because I wanted to honor that, and I knew I was going to represent that, and I wanted to do that, and I wanted to make all y'all proud. When y'all looked at that cover and said, I choose and beautiful, I knew I had to live up to that. So it was really a great responsibility for a 21-year-old, and that's what I tried to do all these years. At this moment in my life, it's about accumulating wealth. It's about accumulating wealth. And I say that to say that I heard this one woman on a panel, she said, I really want to accumulate wealth so I can give it all away. But I want the plane, the G5. So I'll give it all away and then I'll take the G5. I'm not going to give it all away. But What I know it does, it provides you with freedom. And so what's happened to me in the last 4 years, because I was retired, I had built my dream home, I was golfing, you know, I mean, I really had it going on. And like someone else said, a friend of mine died suddenly, and it was such a wake-up call for me, because he wasn't even 60. I said, girl, if you're going to do something, you better get up here and do it now, because time is... So one of the things I always ask people, if you could do anything in the world, just your whole fantasy, what would that be? And they tell me something. I said, that's what you should go out and do. Well, I asked myself that same question was, I wanted to go into business for myself. And I had licensing deals with the Beverly Johnson Reagan hair extension, which was tremendous. Korean owners. I took that deal before I was even wearing hair extensions. I had my own hair, okay? We really revolutionized the way the business was. And it was really a fun ride. But one of the things I've always wanted to do, I wanted to go into business for myself. I wanted to go into business for myself because I didn't want a product that was compromised, because my products were being compromised by that time. But also, it was just the fact that I wanted to build something for myself. And what I realized from this journey is that, of course, you have to create and produce all those right components to business. Just wanting it is not enough. You have to get that business element there, which I got with my partner, who's an investment banking firm, and that's that is what he does, is build businesses. So you have to have the right people around you, and everybody in my team is smarter than I am. I like it that way. But also, what I found is that by going out and by being a woman's activist and advocate, that's what really makes me and gives me purpose. Every morning I wake up, I know I'm going to come here, I'm going to meet some extraordinary women, I'm going to meet like minds, they had some of the same ups and downs I've had, and I want to be of service. So it's not all about the money all the time. So for me, it's this added purpose. It's called cause marketing. Am I right? Your business is just not about making money, but it's about a cause. And my cause is about women empowerment. So I've said a lot, and I'm going to have Kamika.
That's her makeup artist. She always
That's my makeup artist. That's my glam spot.
I know.
Lead me to the next question.
And Beverly, you didn't answer all my questions.
I told y'all we're going to start networking and drinking. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, because I want to ask you two questions though, because you gave us some really good stuff. But I know that the women here, when you talk about 40 years, that's some longevity, and I want to know what advice would you give to young women that are entrepreneurs, that are professionals? How do you continue to reinvent yourself, and how do you continue to grow as a business owner?
First of all, most of the ladies have said it. Being in business for yourself is hard. I mean, it's so difficult, I can't even tell you. It's like, because there's no 9 to 5. It's like all the time. And there's something going wrong all the time. My business partner tells me it's hair on fire. Codes are wrong for the Target product. Hair on fire, hair is always hair on fire. Sometimes I go, doggone, I missed that quarterly check from that Korean company. What the hell was I thinking? I could be laying up here back here on my pool, swimming and everything. But you know what it does is, this whole business thing is life reaffirming. It's like you got your burning desire. It's like there's a light in your eyes. And that's what it is. I think that the one thing that I would say is that as hard as it is, it's even harder.
Yeah.
But that's the joy. And another thing I would say is celebrate every step of the way.
Yes, I agree.
Because you never know when the hair on fire is going to be there. So when something good happens, be like, hey, we got it, I sold it, I did it. Because hair on fire is coming. Get your ass on that.
Oh my goodness. Y'all, okay, my auntie Beverly she be keeping it way real. I'm like, okay. So Beverly, I asked the ladies to give me a question, and my team chose a question for me. But before I get to that question, I want to ask you, because I know you have so many different things going on. What are your current projects that you're excited about right now?
Right now, I'm very excited about the memoirs. Because of the story, and don't judge me, I'm telling you again, it's a page turn. I got everything in there. I just told on everybody, okay? I just said, oh Lord, I'm telling you. All right? They did this, she did that, I did this, I did that, and so I'm very excited about the memoirs. You can order it now, and we'll be on the bestseller list together. Support one another, and then August 25th, it will be at your doorstep. I'm giving a number of launch parties, even one here, book signing in DC. So I'll be back to sign your book. And then, it's the HBO movie or whatever movie or miniseries or whatever that is. And then I'm doing another, that's the media division. There are 5 silos to my business. And that is the media side, where the television shows, remember Beverly's Full House on the Oprah Winfrey Network, with my daughter and I, we coming up with something better than that. It's called Bev Inc. And so look for that television series. Then I have the beautiful Indian hair on BeverlyJohnson.com. So if you buy, if you go on the internet and you buy Beverly Johnson wigs, or you buy Beverly Johnson hair extensions, if you didn't get it from BeverlyJohnson.com, do not come to me complaining that it's tangling and it's doing that, because it ain't mine. It is not mine. You only can get my hair on BeverlyJohnson.com. I sound like Dr. Oz. But that's the only place you can get it. It's not mine. It was old stuff or whatever it is. But that's the internet for you. And besides that, I have a natural mineral makeup line that I have that I'll be introducing. And of course, I'm introducing, my handbag. I have a patented handbag. So all these things came about to me by being open to opportunities, right? This girl, she lives in DC, she's an engineer, and she's half Nigerian and half Russian. Her mother's Russian, her father was Nigerian, an engineer. She had bad skin, and she developed this line of mineral makeup in her room, in her bathroom, in her kitchen. And she had it for about 6 years, and I went over there, and people have been telling me about it, and she did this whole thing from the blackest of black to the whitest. And I couldn't believe it, because mineral makeup is awful, It makes you look gray and don't cover up nothing. So I was like, dang, this stuff is. So I did I went back and took off my makeup and put it on. It's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And so we brought the intellectual properties. So that's the kind of thing that we
Boss move, honey. Yes, that's a boss move. Yeah. So we have one final question. So this is from one of our attendees. They didn't put their name on here though, but she wants to know, how did you build your brand in the early stages, and what advice would you give on how to successfully build your brand?
Well, I think that you have to think of yourself as a brand, even if you're working or if you're in corporate America. I think you have to think of yourself as a brand, meaning that you want to do all of the things that people are doing now on social media. It's a pain in the neck, I must say sometimes. But then again, I understand it now. I sent out a tweet once Obama came on and said what he said about women and sexual assault. And we're looking at CNN once again, and there's my tweet on television saying, oh, Beverly Johnson already tweeted this, about Obama, and she, also did, at Whoopi Goldberg and at Lizzie Davis, who's a journalist at ABC, and at CNN, Kira Phillips. These were 2 women that told my story along the way. But in an instant, it was on CNN. So this power, you know, be careful what you tweet. It's power. That's what it is. It's power. So I think you should really take advantage of the social media
Yeah. Okay.
avenue.
Very good. All right, guys. Miss Beverly Johnson.